All right, I'm back. All right, so let's get into it. I'm talking about this brother right here. His name is Austin Oleman. So you see, every now and then I will reference Manosphere or Passport Bros or feminism. They're all the same thing, okay? They're all the same thing. They're basically movements that were probably started from a place of good intentions, but like every other movement out there, eventually they tend to get bastardized by people with ulterior motives. So that's unfortunately what the social media does. And shout out to Natu, shout out to Chidima. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate you guys for being here. All right. So where there's this gentleman that you're looking at on the screen, Austin Oleman. I stumbled into him probably about 2 years ago, and I have done some reactions around it. But today I'm going to do a fresh one because there's an update. He was the first to actually bring me up to speed with regards to what the passport bros are. So he did a video, and that video he had a lot of things to say, about the westernized black woman. The title of the video was "Why a Black Man Should Stop Dating in the U.S." So today is going to be a little bit about about relationships, of course. But it's going to seem like it's about dating, but it's not just about dating. It's about dating, relationships, and marriage. And these are the some of this mindsets I'm going to address today are the reasons why they are perpetuating the problem. They might not be the original reason for the problem. The problems comes from people not knowing what they're doing. That's the bottom line. Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right. That's where the problem typically comes from. Am I looking crooked? All right. That's where these problems come from. But eventually, I'm struggle streaming today, but I'm gonna be fine. Okay. That's where the problems come from. But the problem basically continues and gets worse because people come up with terrible solutions. So oftentimes, I don't disagree with people when it comes to the problems that they claim exist today in relationship, in modern times, relationship and marriage. I never really disagree with the problems because the problems are exactly what you said. And if you are saying there's a problem, it's valid. That's essentially your experience. Either we're talking about relationships, dating, or marriage. All right. If the problem exists, it exists. You express it the way you express it. Where I tend to disagree is the solutions that people are coming up with. Why? Because the solutions tend to make the problems bigger, right? So, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So he did a video about around July 2022, basically talking about and he was like 21, 22 years old at the time, at most 23. I don't know exactly how old he is now, but the issue was everything he was saying, men could relate so much with it. A lot of men could relate with it so much that we had 50, 60-year-old men following this young man, right? And of course, I tackled it at that point, right? So there's a lot that he had to say when he approaches the ladies, the uncertainty, the flake rate, how many people really just wanted to waste his time. He had some theories around the fact that black women in particular, are just looking for validations, right? And he had a lot to say about the lack of femininity, right? He had a lot to say about, again, he formulated theories around that they're just a bunch of insecure women everywhere. And he also talked about the fact that women have gravitated away from natural beauty. And, he had a lot to say about traditional values being lost in the Western world. He had quite a few things to say about the bad hygiene of women out there, and then, he had a lot to say, okay? But then as of, I think yesterday or so, so basically his solution he came up with was basically he was going to go to Brazil and go find women who are better. Before that, I had stumbled into a group of women on the internet. I think they call themselves the divestors. Basically, they use the same type of solution. They don't want their own men. They think they basically concluded that it's better on the other side. I think the divestors feel like, okay, the white man, or non-men of color, how do you say it? Men that are not colored men, okay, I don't know how to say that they are pretty much better. So women were coming up with such solutions. So now we have a bunch of men who are now saying, hey, this is the solution. We need to divest. And not just, it's easy to kind of point fingers at him and say, hey, hold on 1 second. Yeah, it's easy to point fingers at him and just say, hey, this guy is so young. But then we had a bunch of 40, 50, 60-year-old men that were following him and were basically agreeing with him. So I'm going to dive right into the video that he said, but as of yesterday, he's updated his stance on some of this stuff. And everything we said back then has become, the truth, for him now. His experience has gone around the world. And it really came down to one thing at the time, like, okay, women are the same everywhere when it comes to this relationship thing, okay? Obviously, there might be nuances and differences from culture to culture, from tradition to tradition. But particularly what some of these men are complaining about, or what these women are complaining about, the people are people everywhere. And if you don't have the skills to deal with the people in your own society, what makes you think that you're going to suddenly have the skills? Oh, let me guess. There's no need for skills. No need for game, Abby. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me see. Chidima said that divestors are a response to colorist and racist men. Was supposed to be, I guess, But the idea is let's just go find something else that's better. Right? Because I had this type of experience, and this experience I've had as an individual must be the truth for everybody. It's got to be the truth, because I've had this experience over and over. This is what they say to themselves, right? And it's just got to be the truth across the board. So there's no solution outside of let me go and deal with men or women of other races or other nationalities or other, So, but the truth is that it evolves with time. Wherever the solutions, whatever their reasons for doing what they do, tend to evolve with time. The problems that they say exist, I don't doubt that many of those problems exist. It's the solutions that tend to make the problems even worse. So without any further ado, like I said, I'm only going to be here for a little while. I'm just going to dive right in. We're going to start talking about the video. So he's updated the video with a new video, and he's now saying, oh, they're all the same everywhere. But, he puts in a very interesting word, and I thought we should just catch some clues reacting to this today. All right, without any further ado, let's get into it. Help me hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's ping everybody else into the room. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, okay? Let's go.
Again, and this time we're not going to be talking about... Hello, I am back again, and this time we're not going to be talking about Brazil. We're going to be talking about what made me leave to go to Brazil. In other words, what made me stop dating in the United States. If you've watched my TikToks or some of my YouTube videos, you can kind of get a perspective of how, but I'm going to break it down today. So,
I'm going to make it fast.
In order, I believe, from severity of why I stopped dating in the United States. The number one thing, and we're going to say this is actually a bunch, I'm bringing it down. The number one thing that stopped me from dating in the United States was the texting games and the phone call games, the game. So we're not going to act brand new. We know this is the thing here. You have to have some sort of game, and people get game confused with charisma. Those aren't the same thing. Okay, charisma is the sweet talking and the emotional aspect of her getting to like you with your words, whoop de whoop. But when I say game, I'm talking about, I get your phone number, now let me wait 2 or 3 days to call you back. Like if you know alpha male strategy, he says he waits 10 days to call a woman back. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
When you write, your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text and type.
Okay, I get it, but then that's another thing.
So he's talking about playing games, right? As opposed to having game, right? So this was again 2 years ago. He mixed it all up. It was just he's saying, why should I have to wait? I agree with him. You shouldn't have to wait days because you're playing games so that it can seem like if a person doesn't like you, they don't like you. If they like you, they like you. You know, and part of game is to also make sure you position yourself for the best chances to win. Chidima says, right, you can't have blanket solutions for everyone because, first of all, everyone doesn't have the same experiences exactly. Let's keep going.
Then they say, oh, you got to pretend like you have options. You have to show you have options. Don't blow her up all the time.
Okay, so he used the word pretend. You do have to showcase that you do have options because the reality is that we do have options. But sometimes bad self-esteem can make you come off as you don't have options. So sometimes, yes, even as a coach counselor, I will remind people of the options that they have. That's not pretending that you have options. You literally do have options. There are 8 billion people. Right, so at this point he was basically resenting the idea that you needed to have game. Okay, I'm fasting it forward so we can have enough time, but this was the original video he did 2 years ago, complaining about why black men should stop dating in the US.
Takes her in between 5. Out of those 3, 2 or maybe 1 or maybe 2, you're gonna see again. It's just that. I don't care. Anybody tells you otherwise is full of shit, unless there's some sort of celebrity, but they're not living the regular lifestyle like this. So as an adult, I knew that going, okay, probably still the same thing. I still got to approach a lot of women. But then it was just coming back like, damn, the flake rate, it seemed like the flake rate has gotten worse. And I know some dumbass watching this video right now is going to be like, look in the mirror, look in the mirror. That's not the fucking problem. Because
all right. So let me slow it down. I think it's better to just hear him out. All right? It's talking about the flake rate. That means when you get a number, how many people actually respond to you. Right? I'll slow it down. Sorry about that. Right? How many people respond to it? That's what he's talking about, flake rate. So he's saying there's a dumbass looking at him in the video right now that will say, this was 2 years ago. Keep in mind.
Probably still the same thing. I still got to approach a lot of women. But then it was just coming back like, damn, the flake rate, it seemed like the flake rate has gotten worse. And I know some dumbass watching this video right now is going to be like, look in the mirror, look in the mirror. That's not the fucking problem. Because there's an abundance of men saying the same thing. And then you hear about these women wanting to just have validation. And social media and cell phones have created this, where they have access to so many men, they'll flake on you in a minute. And with dating apps, they're 90% of those women on dating apps are there for validation. Like, they're not there to actually meet you when y'all match. I can tell you on one hand how many women I've met off a dating app, which is at the most 3. I know for sure 2, but at the most 3. And this is 2 years of being on a dating app. And the other is like just women that are matched, and then you'll get to, hey, okay, let's meet this day with the woo.
All right, so he's talking about dating apps. That could be part of the problem. Get out there and put yourself out there. There's nothing wrong with dating apps, but at this point, still, it needs to be the icing on the cake. You need to be getting out there, connecting, networking with other people, dressing up, connecting, smelling good, and connecting with other people. Just way too many people are stuck on dating apps. So he's talking about dating apps. I'm sure I mentioned that back then as well. Like, there's nothing wrong with dating apps, but you just can't depend on it. You got to do a little bit better than that. I'm fasting it forward. It's going to the uncertainty. I'm looking at the highlights of the video.
And clearly she has some sort of interest because I caught her.
Okay, watch this.
Uncertain. So what's another example of uncertainty? Here's 2 of them. There's a chick that I approached at the gym, and I've said this before. I approached her at the gym, and clearly she has some sort of interest because I caught her, looking or whatever. So I went up to her, introduced myself.
I caught her looking, so she must have some kind of interest. Okay, good. Let's keep going.
And she's like, how old are you? Whenever they say that, y'all just walk off. So she said, how old are you? I told her 23. She said 32.
Okay, it was 23 at the time, so it must be around 25 now.
She's like, oh, well, I have to think about it. Bitch, I'm not going to let you think about it. I'm like, no, I don't.
Okay, a woman said, I have to think about it. And then he caught some feelings because of that. I've reacted to this in the past, so I'm just showing you some highlights.
Either you're going to decide now or not. You think you got me on a leash or something? Like I'm going to come back and double check? Hey, just see it if you want to talk.
So a woman rejects you, and the first thing you're saying is like, oh, so you think you have me on a leash? And then you go into all this kind of, hey, Marriott and Sesmo, good to see you. And then you go into all these things in your head, right? That sounds like what I expect a woman to do, not a man to do. Again, not shaming as a man, I'm just telling you what the society, social construct is. Okay, but these were some of the red flags that I, along with a few other gentlemen, saw about 2 years ago. Okay, this was a video from 2 years ago.
Talk to me now. Sorry, baby, you got the wrong one, and you're not even like Yeah,
You are disqualified. Sounds does that sound familiar? I'm gonna push it forward a little bit. It's talking about lack of femininity here.
but those are all masculine. They're non-feminine. Let me just say it. They're not feminine traits.
Wait, let's go back.
A lack of femininity. So right now we know we have women that are calling dudes bro. We got women that are wearing boy clothes. We got women that are that want to go 50,
Hello, Mr.
50
E.
and want to or they want to be the leader of a household. We got women raising their voices at men like they're men, but they only doing that because we know we can't hit them because it's an unfair fight. That's why you shouldn't hit women. But those are all masculine. They're non-feminine. Let me just say it. They're not feminine traits, right? So when I went to Brazil,
Okay, so he's talking about the kind of woman he doesn't want. If you don't want them, you don't want them. That's perfectly fine. But you have to mean that. If you don't want something, you have to mean that you don't really want them. The moment you start going back and forth and you're doing a full-blown video about this, I'm gonna have
Do
to
you like
assume.
having a PO box but are tired?
I'm gonna have to assume that there's some issues. Okay, let's go back.
a goddamn 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 abs, or you don't ever get looked at by women, or there's nobody on your roster, no, you don't have options, because then they're like, oh, this must be something wrong with this dude. He could be a goddamn 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 abs, 7 figures actually. He could be the perfect man, but if you tell him you have no options, it's over with. Don't ever even tell him that. Number 6, makeup.
Makeup.
I like my clothes.
All right.
Women in the United States, they don't like men's clothes. You know why? Because whenever they lean their head on you, it looks like they're still leaning on you.
Okay, these are
no.
again, these are many lame reasons why a black man should stop dating in the US that he gave. All right, so now this is the video that he did 2 years ago. That video has 126,000 views. I think I reacted it back then too. If you search his name on the platform, you'll see. Simply because, again, it wasn't just a matter of a 23-year-old talking. He was saying things that a lot of men, grown men, 40, 50, 60 could relate with. All right. And again, the problems, I agree, some of the problems exist. The solutions is what I tend to disagree with. If a woman she has too much makeup on and she leans on you and stay in your clothes, you can also be a little bit more vigilant. Okay. And start paying attention to them. All right. Let me see what's going on today. Mario says, where is he now? I think he still travels. It's no longer in Brazil because of this video right here. Let me see if there's this video right here. And it says, I've received death threats from Brazilians. Let me play a little of it while I look at the chat.
Hola, tudo bem. Now, recently, it's Austin Holloman, first of all. Recently, as
exactly, says more, exactly.
3 a.m. Brazil time, Salvador, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro time.
Hit the like button, hit the like button.
I posted a video, a clip of my longer YouTube videos titled, Do Brazilian Women Like Criminals or Good Dudes?
Okay.
The purpose of this video was for my followers to get a perspective.
This was when it was in Brazil. This was about a year ago. Okay. All right.
On the difference of the culture between Brazil and the United States, because the United States, the women like the criminals. This has been science.
Okay, did you hear what he just said? In the United States, the women like the criminals. Okay, there's a difference between women like bad boys and they like the criminals. Right? I'm sure that's what he's trying to say, but he's saying the extreme version of it to make a point. Okay, to trigger somebody, I guess. But women like the criminals in the United States? Really interesting.
Of the culture between Brazil and the United States, because the United States, the women like the criminals. This has been scientifically proven.
Scientifically
you know
proven.
I think Brazilian women are the best women on the planet, but let me go out and ask these.
Well, let's even assume that that's true, right? The women love criminals. The solution to that would be, I guess, become a criminal, right? If your goal is to get women, all you have to do is become a criminal. I don't know what to do with that information, but let's keep going.
Women, what they think, and prove my point. I've said several videos that I think Brazilian women are the best women on the planet. I just now started posting my clips on Twitter. I think this may be the first one. And it went viral. Okay,
It went
I woke
viral?
up, it
Mhm.
had like 20 something thousand views. That was like at 7 in the morning. It's 3 p.m. and it's at almost 900,000 views. So this video is probably gonna hit 2 million views before 24 hours. Like literally within 20 minutes, 70,000 people saw the video. Like it was like 800, it was like 750,000.
What happened? Tell
The
us.
crazy part is, I did not shit on anybody. I didn't say anything negative about anybody.
Okay, so at this point, he was basically begging for his life, and he's saying he's receiving death threats from Brazilian. Anyway, let me move forward. Okay, again, this is a lot of ups and downs that this young man has gone through over the past 2 years, just trying to run away from himself. Like somebody said in the chat, I do strongly believe that's what he was doing. Of course, he might disagree, right? Amara says again, feminine/masculine, I hate it here. Not MOP, but these types of conversations. Or you got to learn these conversations if you're marriage minded. You're gonna have to learn this stuff, because these are the influencers. These are your influencers. They're influencing somebody that might intersect your life at some point. So you have to see these things coming. Sesamo says, this red pill men are more expert at how to be a woman than a woman. Jesus, sign language. I want to ask him what period cramps. Jesus, feel like Jesus. They have convinced many swaths of women of what it means to be feminine, and women repeat them. Yeah, you just gotta be careful, man. So it was shown Shege in Brazil too. Hey, yeah, poor him. Wah. All right. The last I saw, he was in Thailand. Okay, Brazil barred him. Yes, he couldn't go back. At least he was scared for his life. So he didn't go to Thailand. I think right now, this video I'm about to show you, he was in Madrid, Spain, and we're about to react to it. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, I still got some time. Good. Scientifically proven, that's what he said. Oh, you guys don't like criminals, no? Bumi, hello. You guys don't like criminals? Is that what you guys are saying right now? The best woman at taking your money, dumb. When it's not paracetamol, it's scientifically proven. He left Brazil because he claimed that he had death threats on his life. Shout out to Dele Oshikoya. Says Dele says he's a barber. Just have money and read more books about philosophy and biographies, and you will be fine. It goes a long way. I agree with that, Dele. That goes a long way. But sometimes, some of these issues, again, I agree with a lot of the problems that is being spelled out by modern people. Is the solutions that I'm trying to Jesus. That solution is a terrible solution. You're going to make matters worse for yourself. So, for example, American women like criminals and they don't like good guys like me. The solution, let's move to Brazil. Right? You're going to hurt yourself. Okay? If you don't even know how to deal with the women that you grew up with, that you know how to behave around you, what makes you think you're just going to get away with women across the ocean, right? This problem is everywhere. It's not just black American men that do this. There are Yoruba men that do this. There are Igbo men that do this. There are white men that do this, right? They always see the grass is greener on the other side, right? There are women do this, human beings do this, right? The grass is always greener on the other side, and that's a terrible standpoint to start from if you're trying to solve a problem. We offer evidence-based relationship and marriage resources and coaching to help you navigate the difficult times.
Don't just wing it. Learn the principles that work.
Download our 2 free books and book your complimentary coaching session now at manofprestige.com.